the music.
Primary ignition.
Almost.
We're so close. We're off to a great start, you guys.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, hello there.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm JB.
Are you sure? Is that actually you?
Well, maybe. I mean, we'll
Okay.
flop it around
All right.
a couple more
Good.
times. How's that?
I'm Sarah.
And this is I Know, our
I Know.
cozy little corner of the internet where we're celebrating all things fandom. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Tonight's episode will be airing the week of Thanksgiving. So, of course, naturally, that tends to put us in mind of all the things we're thankful for, reflecting
Yeah.
on many things in our lives. So, wherever you might happen to be at the moment, whatever it is you're doing, pull up a chair, grab a drink, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and of course, knowing now the stories with Mark and dealing with his car, that disclaimer was
Uh-huh.
perfect tonight.
It absolutely was the car warranty. Yeah, it's been a week here, folks. I don't know about
Oh,
all of
yeah.
you. So
I
speaking
got
of
the
which,
check
JB,
engine light on my car too. I'm ignoring it like Penny does. So
apparently that's a good idea,
who knows what will happen this week?
right? Yeah. All right.
How are you
So
doing,
with that,
Princess?
what are we
Mhm.
drinking tonight?
Well, we are drinking. We've got a sparkling cranberry mocktail tonight. So this one
Yeah,
should be fun. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is the
Here we go.
idea of this one. A is very simple. B is as you get through your Thanksgiving food,
Holiday funds. Yeah.
hopefully you've got all these ingredients just sort of sitting around. Maybe not
Yeah, some
necessarily.
leftovers, something similar. The cranberry juice that we use is cranberry pomegranate blend that the college kids that are home for the week like. So yeah, anything you got on hand. If you don't have ginger beer, any kind of other little sparkling thing will work. And this Luster stuff, I found it in the baking aisle, which I'm not sure.
That's right,
I
you
don't know.
did.
I have to admit, I'm a little hesitant about sparkling edibles. So I don't know if it's terrible. It'll be all Jason's fault. So. We know who to blame.
That's true. That's true. All right. I've got mine mixing here, trying to see
I'm
the
trying to-
sparkles.
Trying not to spill. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
little full. And JB had the great idea that we should try to use these little light up ice cubes that we got from our Mickey boat excursions.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
These were, we kept going to the Jedi bar to tie it to Star Wars, right? This is, I don't know what the actual name of the bar was, but it was the Jedi Lounge, right? Because it had the window, so to speak, was all the various cities.
You're gonna have people messaging us going, "Where's this Jedi bar and how do I find it?" What was that? Was that the fantasy?
The fantasy.
Were you
Yep,
at?
it was the fantasy.
So you get these cool drinks that have these little light up ice cubes in them. So we thought that would be appropriate. I don't know how well it's translating, but anyway, here you go. Cheers, babe.
All right. Cheers, love.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, this would be fun, especially for the kids, the mocktail side of it. And for the adults, maybe a little rum.
Cranberry vodka, maybe. Instead of cranberry juice.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, that's better than I thought it was going to be.
Is it?
I'm not a super big fan of overly sweet drinks. The older I get, the less I like getting sugary drinks. So I was a little worried this was going to be too sweet, but the ginger beer.
Yeah, the ginger beer has got
that offsets it a little bit. Yeah,
it's
not
got
bad.
a bit more of a tang to it. You could definitely our cranberry juice because of the kiddos is a little bit on the sweeter side, but you could definitely.
Yeah, if you went straight cranberry, it'd be a lot more tart.
Yep. Don't get a ton from the cinnamon stick, but it's good. Yeah, no, it's.
I'm glad you're doing the dishes because this glass is now covered with glitter.
Yeah, that is true. I can see that.
Be forewarned.
If it poofs, it'll get everywhere.
So yeah, you brought this up the other night. Now that the kids are gone, we got to figure out when we're gonna hog tie them to the couch and make them watch Visions 3 with us.
I know, right? I mean, definitely for something to be thankful for this year. This is in the last month is Visions 3, which you and I finally. It took us about a week to do it.
Well, it's for the schedules to line up, right?
Yeah,
to have
that's
time
true.
to sit down and properly watch them. I'm super excited. We
love
loved
the
this
third
idea
season,
since the first one came out. I have to admit, out of all of them, though, I think season 2 was my favorite. Volume 2, I think that was my
You
favorite.
think so?
Yeah. This one I really enjoyed the pieces themselves, the actual episodes. But I have to admit, I'm uber disappointed that we didn't get the cool behind the scenes extras, the shorts.
Well, yeah.
That was so awesome in season 2. I just loved it, and I'm like, what? It was all in the same country, and you were all there. Celebration was all there. I'm like, we couldn't have sat down and had a little interview with the creators, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean it was neat. It was all Japanese studios for Volume 3 this time. I like the fact that we had some tie-ins. I think there was 3 episodes that came back that had continuing stories from Volume 1.
That was fun.
Those were all great. I mean, my favorite episode I think out of there was the Birds of Paradise.
That was really good.
The animation was fantastic. I love the storytelling of it. Won't go into details if folks haven't seen it. I'm thinking we need to start a new Thanksgiving tradition, and we'll tie the kids to the couch, watch Volume 3 this Thanksgiving, and then we'll do Thanksgiving rather than football and everything else. We'll just do Star Wars every Thanksgiving. You know, don't worry about a parade. We'll it'll be a Star Wars.
I think I can get on board with it. I'm a little worried about the kids, though. You know, I mean, if we really wanted to torture them, we'd make them watch Skeleton Crew.
Well, I did think about that. That is the one Star Wars series they haven't seen yet.
Our kids are a little old for that, to be TBH. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how well that would go over. I think they would mutiny, which is appropriate considering it's a pirate show.
It is a pirate. It is a pirate show. It's a great pirate show. It's grown on me. I have to admit, after seeing it, I was skeptical going in, but I think it's as I've gotten some distance from seeing it the first time, I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
I'm looking forward to seeing the actors in other things. Yeah. I'm really thrilled that Fern, the actress who played Fern, is going to be in the new Buffy. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
That'd be great.
But I mean, you know, this is where you got to put your money where your mouth is, right? That you are grateful that there's so many different aspects to Star Wars. You know, when we grew up, there was 3 movies, right? And a crap ton load of toys and some really bad cartoons.
They were not bad.
Oh, come on, dude. They were not bad. They weren't bad when I was a little kid because I didn't know any better.
Right.
But now that we have things like Visions, where we actually and Rebels and Clone Wars, where we get actual proper adult versions of animation, this is not Ewoks or droids. Okay, this is it's grown and matured, as have we as fans, right?
Yes.
So I would say that's definitely where the inspiration for tonight's episode came from. right?
It is because we, it's great. BCN's doing the movies that we're thankful for each week. This got us thinking that, hey, what if we look back on for both, growing up as kids watching these movies, as now adults, as a parent, most of the time adults, as parents, what is it about the movies themselves or the Star Wars universe that we can, that we're thankful for?
Well, that's the best part about this long-running franchise, right? Is that there's so many things, there's so many angles, there's so many aspects. But of course, the reason we titled our episode what we did, which is if you distill it down far enough, what you're thankful for always comes back down to George Lucas.
Yeah, the maker was going to be number one if we. So we put one rule,
right? One rule is it's always thank the maker, because in some way, shape, or form, it always leads back down to him. So we don't need to include that in the list because thank the maker always, right? Yeah.
How easy was it for you to come up with the list?
It was actually kind of hard.
Okay.
I think I was a bit spoiled for choice. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like it was really difficult to narrow it down. And then I think I kind of went a little bit broader. I was like, okay, rather than narrow, I did a few specific things, but then I was like, okay, well, I need to be more general as opposed to zeroing in on one little tiny thing.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually came up with the list pretty quickly and then realized
I know you're like over here bragging at me, going, "I got my list already." Shut up, Jason.
I did. It is a very kind of meta list. I'll say that as I'm looking back at it. But then I realized that I could probably have easily done a top 10, top 20. I mean, this could be a conversation that could probably go on and on and on and on and on.
Especially for us, we tend to ramble a bit.
And I think part of it is what you hinted at. Is there's so much now of the
how do you break it down? How do you distill it down? Do you narrow the focus? Do you make it a broader topic? There's there's lots of ways to tackle this. Leave it to us to make it overly complicated thing on the week of Thanksgiving.
But these are the things with Thanksgiving. It's hopefully about friends, family, reflection, gratitude, and what are the things that are key to each one of us as individuals, but also as a family, and now to the broader VCN family and community. So it was a fun. I had a lot of fun. Each of these top fives are getting better and better.
Oh God, don't say that. We're gonna have to hit a
I think I don't know if we ever will have to hit a plateau.
You're selling us out of a job, Jay. Come
on. But I think, are we keeping score? It's probably 2-0 one way or the other on our top fives.
Keeping score on what?
Who's got the better?
It's always me. Please.
That's why it says 2-0 one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we're No. Let's not go there. I think we have enough discussion going on in the comments usually with different ideas and different thoughts, and we definitely don't need to keep score in the middle of all this.
We could. No. Any predictions for these top five?
No. I just hope they're not all the same.
I don't think, it's funny because we had a couple overlaps in the first list.
The first one, which isn't hard because we have very similar tastes.
Yeah, because that was couples. Our scary stuff, we took very different paths on how to define it. So we had no overlaps except for,
sort of versions.
Anakin was number one, just which Anakin
he's literally everywhere, I mean, he can't get away from the guy.
You can't, whether you want to or not. So I think depending on how
how we phrased it, how we sliced the cake.
I think there could definitely be a couple of similar ones.
Yeah. It's not like we've ever talked about this before or anything. So
yeah, and I have to admit, some of mine were broad enough that I had trouble trying to find an image. So we'll see how this kind of works on and go from there. Are you ready? Are you ready to jump into the list?
Sure, why not? Let's go. Keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like you said, we can talk about this for hours.
Yeah. And
the longest running I know episode in history.
Not yet.
November 2025.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Let's do it.
It could be worse. It could be worse as we go on. We could find a more terrible topic. Oh no, where'd he go? There we are. Ladies and gentlemen, our producer.
Our pinch hitting for JB from New York.
Thank you, Mark.
Nothing wants to
Alrighty.
cooperate today. Is
Yes,
it
I
my
love it.
fever
I'll
still
take it.
burning or my aggravation at the Pep Boys? We'll never know.
We just won't know.
All of the
Happy
above,
joys.
perhaps.
And I don't know who's going first today.
No. We'll
Time
see.
to find out.
Whoever made the slides.
Thank the
Yeah.
maker.
I'll have
All hail.
thank the maker.
Oh, it's you, because that's not me.
Yep, that's me.
Stuff.
I cheated.
Oh
I
my
cheated.
goodness.
Yes, exactly. Stuff. And I
This
think
wouldn't-
this appeals to a certain type of fan. I think there might be some
Oh, boy.
members of the VCN out there
Yes.
that share this particular thing, and then I think they might have partners or people in their life that share your point of view, which is, oh my God, please, no more stuff. That you're killing me. You're draining the wallet. It hits me right in the pocketbook. Yes, I am a stuff collector person. Things. Not as bad as I've seen some other people. I will say that. I've seen entire walls in the basement covered in Funko Pops, so it could definitely be worse. But
You're selective. I'll give you that.
I'm limited in my income.
To a degree.
That's the problem. I have to adult and feed my children 3 times a day. It really limits what you're allowed to go out and spend on things.
So when they're out on their own, there's a beware to the.
Yes, quite definitely. Especially if my real estate business takes off, then you're in trouble.
There you go.
I might start squirreling away my commissions. But yes, things, collectibles, stuffs. I've got Legos, I've got action figures, and you can actually see here if you zoom in a little bit on those. Your
I see
original
some of
Kenner
my-
toys
Yep,
from your
the
childhood.
action
there.
figures from my
Yeah, some of the
Yep,
originals
that.
there.
my parents held on for a while. And we
Mhm.
finally acquired them.
Finally gave them up. Yep.
Not mint in the box.
No,
well
no,
loved,
JP
well
does
played
not
with.
believe in those. You can tell which are mine because they're still in the box, and which are Jason's because
That is true.
out and
That is a
schmutzed up like there's no.
ongoing. I still remember the day Ian opened up one of your.
Oh my God, you guys! He almost died. He almost died. It's lucky he was so cute. He was like 3 years old, and he'd gotten into
We had the spare by
guest
then.
room closet. Yeah, the guest room closet. And he was rooting around, and he found my Darth Vader toy, and he was like, "Oh, this is fun, Mom! Look what I found!" I'm like, "Oh yeah." Learned that I had to move everything up now, and because it was all in like a Tupperware and sealed up. I mean, it was not just sitting in there. So
That's true. He had to find it.
He had to go
rummage
rooting
through it.
for it, and I think that that was definitely should have been my first inclination that he was going to go to the dark side right there.
Mhm,
I'm gonna tell you.
mhm, mhm.
So yeah, I'm grateful for the chance to have things and stuff to collect and display and have fun with.
So what's your favorite type of collectible? I mean, one of my problems is I love pictures, and we have no more wall space. So it's
I'd have to say figures. Say figures. I mean, I've got obviously my favorite piece is my ginormous 3-foot ghost that's down there with all 6 figurines around it. And I've got quite a few there. Don't you dare! Don't you dare! No. Yeah, and then we've got that whole China hutch behind you over there with more figures in it. So yeah, I would definitely say figurines. But I'm pretty selective in what I want. It's obviously very Rebels heavy. But yeah. So you like the art, I like the figures.
I do.
Now we have no more places to put anything. So
and I mean, again, this will come back around. It's interesting as I'm thinking through my list. This will come back around. This conversation in a way, I think. But the fact that this world, this galaxy, is so open now with not only just what is done professionally, but all the artists and creators who do things as fans.
Yep.
And then you've got the community, and you've got things like the VCN, obviously conventions, cons, and everything, and a way for people to exchange and just enjoy it. Collectibles are now endless. There's no limit to it. So I think it's one of those things, and you and I approach this. There is obviously a business side to it, but you and I approach it how is a collectible speaking to us? Unfortunately, lots of them talk to us, and we want to take them home. And I'm glad that you do have some video games where things are digital out there. That you can
That does kind of help soothe that need to collect things, as I just get my little catalogs and tick those things off. It's very pleasant.
Yeah. I mean, he and I were talking about Funko Pops yesterday at the GameStop, and
Nope.
there was a ton of Star Wars ones sitting there, but
Yeah, I remember you threw the
never
Hu Yang
home.
in my face.
I did. I thought, I was like, oh, is
Shame
this
on
going to
you.
be a hook?
Tisk, sir.
All right, a good one. I'm glad it's only number 5.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was, yeah. All right, so what did you put?
What is mine is 5? This is quotes. Star Wars quotes. This is one of the ones I had a hard time. I had to.
I was going to say,
create a
did you
slate.
make this?
I did make this slide. I did actually. I had to put this together. So
that is definitely one of the best things Harrison Ford ever said.
I know, right? That jumped in my. But this is a second language for us in many ways. I mean, you and I talk in movie quotes, but specifically Star Wars quotes, as a way of being able to communicate, just being able to get fun emotions, hard emotions. But yeah, I had to make sure that was up there for you.
Well, the best part is the shriek of 3PO afterwards. I mean, just the cinematography. I am not a committee.
Yeah,
it's just perfect, and nobody's on stage anymore. Just poor little 3POs peeling over backwards, shrieking. I love it.
I mean, one of the things that I noticed about you when we first started to date was you could quote this movie verbatim. And
one of many.
Since you had the complete soundtrack, you could do it to the music even more, which was great. But it is.
Is it, or is it a sign of an illness? I'm not sure which.
Yeah. But it is. God. It's one of those, and I think it's an unfair critique. People have particularly the original series, but even the new series, all of them, there's quotable lines, and if you Google this, you'll get the 75 top Star Wars quotes or the 100. I mean, there's so many lists and they're different. And unfortunately, I think there's been a unfair critique of George and his writing style that he'll write witty dialogue or something, and I think there's definitely some cringeworthy moments in various parts of the movies.
All of them. I don't think it's a Star Wars movie if you don't have a cringeworthy moment.
Well, you need some cheese on the popcorn.
Indiana Jones movie, if you don't have a jump the shark moment.
Right?
They're all. It's just the nature of
yes.
Yeah.
I do think that it's important to listen to the dialogue and the way the dialogue is said. That there is maybe something that they are trying through, again, a very visual medium, but also. You've got Queen Amidala, who's very proper in the way it's a monotone speak. That's done on purpose to try to almost elevate it versus how she's talking when she's more casual on the.
When she's Padme, yeah.
So those things I think are done on purpose, whether they are
successful or
not. I think that's a good conversation to have. But the fact that you, I, and even with the kids a little bit, we've brought these quotes into the house.
It's how my brother and I used to communicate around my parents.
Yeah.
We would sit at the dining room table and we would start quoting different parts of movies to basically convey what we were thinking about whatever it is they were telling us we had to do. It used to make my parents nuts.
I mean, how many times have we, yelled at each other from K2SO? You're a rebel now.
Yep.
But then it's just some of the philosophical quotes. I mean, there's tons, obviously, by Yoda or Qui-Gon tend to be the ones that have a lot of gravitas to them. But it's great. I like it being almost a cheat sheet, and then you hook people in. So yes,
nice. I agree. I like that one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I realized it's not just the Lego. That's not what I was going for here. I went for it because we were all wearing our T-shirts and all 4 of us were together. Yeah, I'm incredibly thankful for the global fandom that is Star Wars Celebration and all of the other conventions. They didn't really exist much when we were kids, when we were growing up. And the few that did exist either were nowhere near me or my parents wouldn't be caught dead taking me to it. And now that we've experienced some of them ourselves, I love the fact that this is something we did as a family with our kids, and that has been everywhere now, right? It's been to Europe a couple times. It's been to Japan. It's been all over the U.S. It's a global phenomenon, and that's something I really love about Star Wars. And it brought home really hard for me when I was listening to Gates McFadden's podcast. she bought a house in a small village in France long time ago, and she's been working on fixing it up and making it her own and everything. And she had taken her son there, I want to say probably early 90s. So Star Trek The Next Generation had been on for a while. But at that point, especially like pre-internet, it wasn't nearly the global phenomenon that it is today.
Sure, yeah.
And they were in their little village and in the pub, and there was a pinball machine that was Star Trek The Next Generation. And her kid was all impressed. He was like, "Hey mom, look, it's you're on a game." And she was like, "This is wild." And she went up and she asked the guy behind, she's like, "Oh, this is amazing. Where'd you get it?" He goes, "This? I don't know what this is. I asked for Star Wars." He was mad. He got Star Trek instead of Star Wars. Didn't even know what this show was, but he knew what Star Wars was, even in the early 90s when there wasn't really much of anything out there yet.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that, especially for the travels that we've done all over the world. It can even be a universal language, right? If you're wearing a Star Wars t-shirt, people might recognize it. So, like I said, things have changed a lot. Nowadays you've got these incredible instantaneous communications, ways to share pictures. You've got video chats, but Star Wars is almost as deeply embedded in international cultures as it is in the United States. So this was one of those ones where I kind of had to go broad.
Yeah.
I started very specific, and then I was like, well, yeah, but we've been to other conventions and other places, and those are just as much fun. So
yeah. So I love Star Wars Legos, so I'm glad you have that pick. We're going to come back to this.
Okay.
So I'm going to put a pin in it, although I will say I liked your comment about, it's something that you can connect globally, because what I've also found in my professional life, that sports is sort of one of those things that's kind of easy, but Star Wars itself and being a fan of it also ends up connecting you with people as I've moved from job to job to job, or through the career. So it is a connection, which I like. Yeah. That obviously is. So, but we'll we'll see this again.
Okay.
My number 4.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Timothy Zahn.
Oh yeah.
And Heir to the Empire.
This was one of the ones that I was like, I don't know. Do I do it?
I was wondering. This is maybe one of the repeats, because this takes us back to when we were starting to date, college.
Yep. I think this was like jockeying for fifth place. Like this was one of those ones that was definitely in my top 10, but when I had to narrow it to 5,
Yeah, I mean it's one of those. So it's prior to prequels. It's finally we get something new in Star Wars. It's before the EU launches.
It launched the EU basically.
Yeah. It is. It does.
Yeah.
And it was proof. So we're hungry, so us fans, we're talking about the rumors of the prequels and everything at this time. I remember having those conversations when I was in high school.
But these came first. These came a long time before that.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying is we were we're hoping for prequels, because we wanted the answer to the question, why is Star Wars Episode 4? So we wanted 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
So, but we get these books instead, and I think it's a little bit like I think of Grogu, is we didn't know we needed these until they came out.
Yeah.
And they were, I have very distinct memories of, because you wouldn't let me read your copy, so I had to get my own.
Nope.
Sitting with the paperbacks in the beanbag chair, Star Wars music in the background, reading them and running through. They were the first thing that I realized that we can do Star Wars stories can be written and done beyond the original trilogy. I think it's bigger than that. I mean, it's only timeline wise, it's only a 5-year jump, but we got a villain we got Thrawn, who is a villain that is very different from Vader, the Emperor, and we get a doubting Luke, which I thought was interesting. Lando Calrissian introduces him to hot chocolate, which is a great little touch.
I remember that. That was so cool. And I was like, oh my God, hot chocolate's from another galaxy. Cool. Yay.
How's the Republic? How are they? They're struggling, after it. It's not the, Star
We got
Wars
to go
is,
to Kashyyyk for the first time.
yeah.
So it
So
was like we finally got to see the Wookiee. Yeah,
we did.
Yeah.
We have this, Star Wars is a fairy tale. So
hmm
what do we see at the end of episode 6? Everyone's
Happily
happy,
ever
we're
after.
dancing. It's happily ever after. We finally get to see. So even though it's now considered Legends,
hmm
it's great to see characters brought from this series and Timothy Zahn to re-come back thanks to Rebels.
hmm
And we get a reintroduction of Thrawn, and we get both. And like you said, this launches the entire
Yeah.
EU.
I have distinct memories in high school of walking into Walden Books because I didn't start shopping at Barnes and Noble until I met you. Walden Books was at the Oakview Mall in Omaha,
Yep.
Nebraska, and I went there all the time. I was a 80s and 90s kid mall rep. I worked there in the summers in high school and everything. I knew that mall inside and out. I hung out with my friends there. We'd get dropped off and picked up there. So I was always in and out of Walden Books. Knew the layout like the back of my hand, knew exactly where the science fiction and fantasy section was. So I come barreling in one day and I literally stopped my
I can see it.
because they had one of those. Remember, they had those short freestanding shelves in the middle that they
Yeah.
move around. You've got the
Oh, yeah,
line, and right there was that image. And I was like, "Did I just? Oh
What
my
is this?
god, what the hell is this?" And I went running over,
Yep.
and I'm like, "What am I looking at? What am I looking at?" Because I had read, I want to say in middle school, I'd read, what was that book called, like The Crystal Shard or something like that?
I know which book you're talking about, but yes, yeah, that came
And
out
it was
right
like
after.
it was supposed to
episode
be
4.
between like 5 and 6, right? Or was it
Something.
between 4 and 5? Anyway, it was one
Crystal
book that
Mine, I
had been
can't believe I can't
written
remember.
in between the original trilogy, and I actually didn't like it.
It's
It
mixed,
was
right?
fine, but I read a lot. I started reading Nancy Drew books when I was 5 years old, and progressed from there. So I really have a particular style and a particular rhythm and a particular level of writing that
Right.
I like. And to me, this book felt more like a long comic book with no pictures. Like I really struggled with the writing style because I remember talking to my English teacher at the time because I really loved her. And I was like, I love Star Wars. Why don't I love this book? Like, what's wrong with me? And so she would help me break it down. And then she's like, okay, what don't you like about this? And I'm like, it's clunky. It doesn't read well. So I have to admit, when I saw this book, I was like, oh God, it's more bad Star Wars. What's going on? What's happening? And
Splinter of the Mind's Eye is the name of it.
That's what it is. Splinter Shard.
78 came out, but it had,
Okay.
it had the funny crystal.
That's exactly what I remember. I was just going to say the ice and the yep. That was it. So I have to admit, I was so leery about this book. I was like, oh no, and I was devastated. I'm like, what do you mean episode 7? What do you mean this is? I was like, what happened? George, is he going to do the thing? And I can remember reading the inside jacket of the cover. It said that he was handpicked by George Lucas, and I was like, okay. And again, all hail, thank the maker. We wouldn't have Timothy Zahn or Thrawn without George Lucas, right?
Absolutely.
And so, but I was swept up by this writing. I was completely drawn into it. And so to me, that what I most appreciate this book is that it helped me differentiate between what I consider my opinion, the difference between good Star Wars books and bad Star Wars books.
Okay. Well, I mean, it helped that Timothy Zahn had been writing space operas beforehand, which is great because after reading these, it got me into some of his other
Well,
books.
He actually also writes hard SF because some of his other Thrawn books that I've read were really hard for me. They were major snoozers because it was all technical and logistics and
There's
space
some
battles,
of that,
and there was very little character-driven story. And I'm like, when I'm trying to read that, because it's good, he does it well. And I was like, that's it. It's a whole book of space battles. You're not going to give me anything else, really? No personal development at all? Okay. So I was very pleasantly surprised that he was able to bring in the novelization, the space opera, the character stories in the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So yeah, major kudos. I agree. Just didn't quite make the top 5.
Didn't make it. It was outside looking in.
It was close. Yep. All right, number 3.
Okay, The Man with the Hat.
Man with the Hat. Yeah.
Maker's Apprentice.
Yep. Exactly.
The acolyte?
Again, all hail the maker. You know, handpicked by George Lucas, and all I can say is that while I don't agree with every decision
Yeah.
he's made or been forced into making, I'm not sure which.
Oh, no.
I can say with my whole chest, I am so glad that when he got the phone call, he stumbled and bubbled and was like, "You have no idea how the guy I am."
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Thank the maker that's what he said. So much of what I love most in Star Wars in the last 20 years originated here in one way, shape, or form or another, up to and including the Acolyte. He helped, he sponsored, he pushed Leslie into doing her show, her way, her story. So yeah. Thank the maker.
Yeah, I agree. He's become George's apprentice in his own right now. He's become
Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, the Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett. I mean, all these things are directly tied to him and his vision, as flawed as it may be in some cases.
Well, he's obviously a creator and artist first, visual again, a lot like George. In this case with animation. I'm glad George was willing to take a risk on animation. He was taking Star Wars in a certain direction at the time, and wanted to get into that, in that medium, and was able to pick somebody. I mean, it is funny. Anytime there's a couple different ways, but to listen to Dave Filoni talk about the time where he met him and George is looking at his artwork, and he almost blows it on the original telephone call because he's thinking he's being punked.
He thinks he's being punked. Yep.
But he is at first, when it comes to Star Wars, he's a humble fan. He recognizes what the story is trying to do. He recognizes
what he doesn't know.
and what he doesn't know. And he has just been. And again, I think it's one of those things that George does actually really well is imparting the wisdom that he has, trying to explain of where he's taken the story, and then allowing the students then to go. And he's done that by having different directors and people writing some of the movies. And then again, with Clone Wars, you definitely see, I think, as the Clone Wars, as we've been going through the rewatch, probably George is doing less and less oversight than he did in the first couple seasons, and then it
well, that's one of Henry Gilroy's most famous quotes, right? Is that in Clone Wars you only had to make one person happy, and that person was George Lucas. So in a way, Dave is also connected to Henry Gilroy, and everything. The reason that he's in Rebels is because he was part of the Clone Wars team. So again, that's one of those things where I had to keep zooming out the camera a little bit more. I'm thankful for this one thing. How far back is it connected? How far back does it go? Other than the maker. And Dave is also very connected with the fandom. He loves it. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge. And so he's able to pull people into this universe, but also kind of, as creators are what they are, right? They want to create and they want to take things in directions. And he's now got the fun job of trying to corral those cats. And keep Star Wars, the essence of what it is, but there's so much that you can expand out, which will be something interesting to talk about in a little bit. But I think he has a very unenviable job of wanting to support creators and support new visions and new ideas, whilst having to wrangle the bureaucratic money-making side of things. He has to walk that fine line in the middle. So very grateful. Very grateful.
Yep. All right.
How about you?
So number 3, this is all Johnny Williams and Star Wars music, right? I chose this picture because this was the CD that I owned in college that I listened to over and over and over and over and over and over again, probably while reading Timothy Zahn's books. But the music, I thought about actually putting a picture of the LP because that was, as we talked about in our very first episode, is something that my parents had the record and
the
I
vinyl.
listened to. And it was one of those, it's just one of those things where, especially early on when we didn't have these new books, when we didn't have the new stories, the music itself helped us remember what we had seen on the screen. You were able to relive the scenes, and there's no Star Wars without John Williams. There's no, I mean, I think any of the movies that he has touched, the movie would be extremely different if he wasn't the one behind the music. And I think the same thing you could be said for Raiders, Jaws, some of these movies that the music itself is its own character. It was, you know, he wrote themes. He wrote themes to characters, to ideas, the Force, and you know, he got better. He got better with the prequels, and there's some really great themes and stuff in the sequels, while at the same time trying to weave his own music. And it's allowed artists like, you know, it's fun to listen to Rebels, the soundtrack from Rebels, and see what they pull from Johnny Williams and what
they recognize what
and
the Kleiner brothers did. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. I'm hearing an episode. I'm like, I know exactly where in the truth they got this from, and I love how they're changing it. Amazing.
Yeah. So the music itself, I don't think it will go down, I think, as some of the best, I'll use the term classical music in of its own right. The fact that it's tied to a movie score is irrelevant. As it goes in the future, it will long live, you know, the films themselves. So,
well, to use your phrase, we'll put a pin in this.
Got it. Oh, I like the picture.
It's my number 2 choice. Yes, Johnny Williams. Yep, that's him.
That's a great photo, especially with the crowd.
Yep, I chose this one specifically because I knew that John Williams was going to be really high up on my list. Because of everything you just said, literally, I had the same thoughts. One of the other things that we dealt with growing up in the 80s was that you didn't have streaming. You didn't have instant access. The only time you ever got to watch a show is if you had it on a VHS tape or a Betamax tape. And then you had to sit, at least in my family, in the living room and put it up on the TV. And my mother had very little patience for that kind of thing. It was a very rare day that I could sit down and watch any episode of Star Wars whenever I wanted. It didn't happen. However, I did have a Walkman and then a Discman that lived in from about age 9 to about age 16 when I got my license. I walked around with that thing on all the time. I had it on when I was trying to go to sleep at night. And so I had cassette tapes, I had mixtapes, I had CDs, and I could listen to Star Wars music whenever I wanted to. And my mom couldn't make me turn it off. So until I got books and DVDs and my own space in college where I could listen to and watch whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, Johnny Williams's music was it for me. It was my Star Wars. It was something I could listen to in the background. It would fire off my imagination. And very few things made me stabbier as a fan than when people would bag on Star Wars music. It would set me off like a Roman candle. I would get so angry because no one seemed to understand that this was original music written and conducted by a person in an entire orchestra. And so, yeah, I used to have knockdown, drag out fights in high school and even early years of college, trying to explain to people what a big deal this was. And, you know, with the advent of the internet, being able to look up all this stuff, the reason I picked this picture is because it was put out by the LA Philharmonic.
Yeah.
This is the Hollywood Bowl. This is actually where I went last August after the second family vacation. I went up and visited my godfather, and he and his husband took me to the Hollywood Bowl, and I watched a production there. And for the first time this year, the LA Harmonic has named it a stage. The stage is now the John Williams stage.
Nice.
For this season. And I learned what a huge deal that is, because initially the orchestra, the Philharmonic, was required to play John Williams's music during productions or venues or evenings or whatever. And they hated it. They thought it was beneath them. And in fact, the members of the Philharmonic would actually intentionally make mistakes in what they were supposed to be playing to make it sound bad, to screw it up, to make it less interesting or less pleasurable, especially for people who didn't know the music. They actually got called out by music critics in the media and in the paper, calling them out on being such shits for doing that. that it was snobbish and it was unfair. And so this was, in my opinion, kind of their way of saying, sorry.
Sorry.
You're way better than we thought. Like you've shown it over and over and over again, decades and decades later. So I absolutely 100% agree.
Yep.
I think that this music will be some of the 20th century's most honored and recognized original compositions. I think he is a rare gift and a rare talent, and we are so fortunate to have his scores literally be the music of our childhood. As you said, so many
100%.
different films, so many different things. And I agree, Star Wars would not be what it was if the maker had not convinced Johnny, if he had not listened to Steven, who said, you want Johnny,
Yes.
I don't think it would be what it is. I think it even happened in Visions. The ones that got me the most were the ones that were written with the thematic music specifically designed to honor John Williams. And I didn't know that at the time, but I picked up my favorite one and then I learned about it and I'm like, yep. So it's number two for me.
No, yeah, it's funny. John Williams, loving his music, especially as a kid, has gotten me to other classical, and just like Lucas, he has absorbs and then translates all the classics, in his early part of the career, he's a jazz player. And so, and of course, knowing that, then you're like, okay, now I get the cantina. But it is amazing the range, the depth that he has. And then to take what he's done and then hear it in other classical, artists. Obviously the Planets is one, but Holst's Planets. But he is. I agree. He's definitely one of the best 20th century, early 21st century artists that we owe a lot to.
All right.
Fans.
So what was your number two?
Number two. So this one was a little bit difficult for me to put on. So I am actually very thankful to be living in a time and a fan at a time where Star Wars is trying to, the diversity is becoming a bigger emphasis in Star Wars. We have, these are the covers. I think these are 2025 covers for Black History Month and for Pride. That center character, if you don't know, is from the High Republic.
Yep.
That's Katam Sai. They are non-binary.
Yep.
They come from the High Republic Jedi Adventures comic book, which is fantastic. You mentioned Visions 2. Visions 2 is we get studios from all around the world, right? And these were some of my top two from Spain and then from India, from the Sith and then the Bandits of Golak.
The Bandits, that's what it was.
Yep. And then, Acolyte is a fantastic series. Acolyte is a fantastic Star Wars series, period.
End discussion.
Yep. Yeah. And I greatly appreciate that we are going, there's an argument out there that Star Wars has, because we bring in aliens and science fiction can kind of talk about social issues. But I am so glad to see that on our human characters, we are trying to get a much more representative cast. Yep. And we can do it. We see it a little bit more in the comic books, in the Visions, in I'll say some of the outlining stories. What I'm hoping that we can get it a little bit more mainstream, which is why I actually really like the fact that we get Rey as our hero out of the episode 7 through 9. Star Wars needs to continue that. I'm a little bit nervous that corporate interests are going to try to temper this down, but we need to put the foot on the pedal and continue to go, because this will come back around actually a little bit in a few moments. But Star Wars, it's universal, it's global. We owe it to ourselves to talk about all the stories and all the artists that can bring their own culture, history, flavor to this galaxy, and it will only make it better. So
no, I 100% agree. I like that. That's a very, as you said, meta way to look at it.
I did say.
Yeah, that's good. Nice.
All right.
So up next, we're honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I love it.
Yeah, this was tough. But Yeah, yeah. I really, really, really like Rogue One and Andor. And I am incredibly grateful that he had an idea and he stuck with it. You know, you
Mhm.
talk about diversity. Look at the cast in Rogue
Yeah.
One.
Oh,
You know what I
100%.
mean? And then again in Andor, it's repeated, it's expanded. Um, and it's just it's gutsy, you know, it's gutsy in a fandom and a culture and a story idea where you have space wizards and light swords,
Hmm.
to do an entire story that has practically nothing to do with space wizards or
Yeah.
light swords, and to stick with it and not give up, you know. That's amazing. That's incredible to me, and I'm so grateful that not only did he do it, but he pulled it off in such a fantastic way.
Hmm.
Such a fantastic way. Um, so I hope he goes on to do more. There's kind of rumors, there's
Hmm.
ideas and more things he's interested in. Since it was such just a small slice of Star Wars, I kind of felt like it's not quite fair to actually put him in my top 10.
Yeah.
That's why he's got honorable mention. I would love to see more. And so maybe another 5-10 years when we do another top 5 list, it'll be a little higher up there,
I like your optimism.
right? Yeah,
Definitely 10 years from now.
there we are.
In our, I can't do the
Yeah,
math, 12 times 10,
yeah.
120th episode.
All right, so there
uh,
we go.
no, I love it. Andor and Rogue One. It speaks to me two things. One is, like you said, is it's not space wizards and necessarily the Force, but the seeds of it are, hell, they're in the crawl of episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do we get these space plans, the
Yep.
plans of the Death Star, and becomes Rogue One, and
Mhm.
then, you know, and I mean, let's face it, George gave us a trade federation blockade, so there, you know, his world that he has so many facets and so many parts, which
Mhm.
allows somebody like a Gilroy to and these creators to take a thread and run with it and keep it in Star Wars. It has a different style. It has a
And
different
they
flavor.
threaded the needle phenomenally in
Yeah.
there. As someone who's
Yeah.
obsessed with continuity, I could not be more pleased, even
It
with
was-
all of the
yeah.
changes and the bits that they had to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
gave us some fantastic storytelling, and it fits.
Acting,
It fits
incredible writing, incredible acting,
Mhm.
incredible production design, costuming, music, all of it.
Yep.
I mean, it was top notch. And I hope he does more. Lots more.
Yeah.
Lots more.
Yeah, and it is a piece of Star Wars. It's different than other parts of Star Wars, and that's good. And
And I'm so
okay.
grateful for that.
And
yeah,
that's great.
like we need to do more. We need more.
And
of
one's
that.
not better than the other. It's just it's adding to the tapestry of
Mhm.
what this galaxy is.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of creators, so
Oh,
honorable
look at you
mention for me
going deep.
was
Look at you
outside
going
of
in with
Star
a
Wars,
deep
right?
cuts.
So Joseph Campbell, and specifically his book, A Hero with a Thousand Faces. I will fully admit I didn't know exactly who he was, nor did I understand his connection to Star Wars until you brought it up. So again, a lot of my references are back to our college years. So I'm not quite sure what
You're welcome.
that says. That's right. But yeah, and this ties into what we were just talking about with the diversity of Star Wars is Joseph Campbell, his argument, especially in Hero with a Thousand Faces, is that we all sort of in our psyche have this myth that's underlying across all cultures, all people. It's something that's handed down to us from generation to generation.
Yep.
And Star Wars is that. Star Wars is that story. It's a hero's journey in episodes 4, 5, and 6 are sort of a piece of it, but there's more to it, when you read. As soon as I watched his interviews, have Joseph talk about Star Wars. I've read the books, multiple books. I went down a rabbit hole back in college and shortly after
Yes, you
with
did.
him, as you will attest. But I think it's a testament to the weight of our humanity that is found in these stories with wizards and lightsabers and galactic battles. And so it's great that that George was a huge fan, that George was specifically tapping into the thoughts that Joseph Campbell was doing in his academia and wanted to bring
in a more
that
modern
up.
way. Yeah, in a modern storytelling using modern media.
And I think my hope is that as the creators, as LucasArts, Disney, keep this as sort of the North Star of Star Wars, we're going to continue to get better and better stories, and it's going to stay true.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily like that because it's I don't want to argue what's true or what's not.
What isn't Star Wars? Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think that's it's an important part that we can play as fans, you know. Pod of Rebellion, which is a Rebels rewatch with some of the cast, with the voice actors, recently had Henry Gilroy on, and he made some comments, and I was like, yes, like this was totally along the same thought patterns and lines that I was thinking. And most people in the comments on Instagram, when they posted their little short clip of it, were agreeing. And there was one person who was like, "Oh, all due respect, I don't think it's right for you to come out and say things like this. Like, there's already so much, you know, division and stuff among fandoms. You shouldn't be dividing people." And I'm like, I didn't say anything in the comments because I didn't want to get, you know, banned or start a flame war. But I actually disagree. I think that it's important to have constructive criticism as fans. I think the way we keep the giant money-making bureaucratic ship on the right path is to come forward and say, like Disney, right? Like it all started with a mouse, right? It all started with the maker. It started with Joseph Campbell. It started with myths, fairy tales, and legends. Like that's where it started. And it doesn't always have to be a Eurocentric myth, fairy tale,
100%.
legend. There can be an entire planet of cultures
so
and
many
ideas.
more. Yep.
And I think that's what we have to do as fans is say, this is what we're looking for, not the latest white boy shtick that's going to sell more toys. We want
like that.
this. And so I think, you know, as positive fans and fans that have a community like the VCN stepping forward and saying, I love Star Wars and I want more of this, less of that. Thank you.
I love it. Nope, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Good way to go. Good way to go.
All right.
All right.
We're at number one.
Here we go.
Look at that. Somebody's snoozing with the VCN.
I was gonna say, I know. Here we go.
All
Cue
right,
the
good.
cheese
I like it.
factory. Yeah, I know.
That's what you put on your popcorn.
You know, I got. You're terrible. It should at least be what you put on your pizza. I don't put cheese on my popcorn. I put salt and butter on my popcorn. So salty and sassy, that's okay. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, breaking down all things about Star Wars, the thing I'm most thankful for right now in my life is the VCN family.
Yeah.
It really is. Gives me some place positive to go. Gives me like-minded friends to talk to about stuff. Gives me positive entertainment, friends to connect with at conventions. Yeah, I know it's cheesy, but there it is.
No, it's great. I mean, it's community is such a big part, and it's been actually a theme through most of these thankful top 5 items, and it's you've pulled me in, and I jumped into the deep end in some ways.
I sure did.
And I remember trying to explain to me what was going on during the Rebels rewatch, and then
sit down and just watch it.
Then you ran up and and I'd be that silent lurker out there, and then you got to go to California and do the VCN family last year, and it's been kind of, and then we went to Rhode Island last year and met so many of the members. And it was just a fantastic time, and it is great to be a part and to enjoy different perspectives, different interests, and share this love that has been part of our journey for over 2 decades plus. So,
love you guys.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Speaking of coming back around.
Aww. I almost picked that picture.
I am actually when your picture came up, I'm like, I'm glad we picked a different picture.
That's hysterical. That's so funny.
I can only imagine what Mark and Dave were thinking about themselves when they saw it.
That's really funny.
So yeah.
Wow.
So it's Celebration Chicago. 2019. And it has a VCN tie-in because you were starting to be more involved.
That's when we first joined the group. Was
you were joining the group on Facebook
one day at Celebration.
Yeah, this was one day. I think it was Saturday for us. We drove. Yep. We just happened because we're in southwest part of
4
Illinois.
4 hours away.
So 4 hours away. We drove out Friday. Had a great little apartment that we rented out saw the beautiful skyline of Chicago that night. There all day Saturday.
Windy. Wind was.
It was
so
very windy.
cold.
I mean, it's
Holy
April,
smokes.
right? Yeah, it was a
Nope.
cold
Should not have been
walk.
that cold. Should not have been that
Cold
cold.
walk to the convention. We had been, prior, because we had just gotten back from England.
Mhm.
We had been to a Doctor Who experience, or and that was, we saw, we went to the panel. It was right before the Face the Raven came out. So this is season 2 of Peter Capaldi timeframe, and it was fun. It was crowded. It was sort of crowded. This was
Insane.
next level 10 times, right?
Well, and I'd gone to London Film and Comic Con right before we left,
Right.
in 2017. But I went on my own because the kids didn't want to go, and you couldn't get away from work.
Mhm.
So I'd been to that too, which was much bigger.
Yeah.
That was much bigger. So I kind of got a taste of it, and I knew I didn't want to go by myself again.
Yeah.
So
It was great. I mean, the kids each got
Mhm.
Ian got Timothy Zahn to sign
Yep,
his books.
sign his Thrawn books. Yep.
And then Tyler got his Ahsoka book.
Mhm.
Had an local artist, do Ahsoka drawing, and we've got one of her prints. And so it was great to get them involved and get them. Hopefully, they don't quite take the collectible gene that you have.
Don't seem to be. Knock on
At
wood.
least until they can earn their own money.
Yeah, and they had to take it to their own house. They can't do it in here. We don't have any room.
But yeah, I mean, Celebration, it was great. Looking forward to whenever we can ever make it back. But
Right.
it's opened up the door to conventions, to things like the VCN and just the Star Wars fandom that we enjoy so much. So, and
That's
luckily,
awesome.
we
I love
picked different pictures.
We did. Look at us.
Look
Didn't even
at
plan
us.
it. Ha.
All right, so there it is. That's a wrap for the latest top 5.
There we are. Thank the maker top 5.
That was great.
Awesome.
Lots of fun. Yeah, and predicted we have a couple of similar ones.
Yeah, but still different in their own little ways. Still not too bad. Jason, you've changed.
I have. I'm looking better these days. Okay, well, it is Thanksgiving week, so hopefully everybody is either been traveling or has safe travel plans.
Friends, family, whatever it is that makes you
it's just-
happy this week.
You're able to enjoy it. There are a couple things that the VCN is doing.
You're looking for some places to spend time with friends.
Yeah. So Wednesday night there will be the watch along. They're moving it up.
The movie
special
watch along.
time.
It's moved to Wednesday night.
This is going to be Superman 1978
Mhm.
version. Christopher Reeve. I might be joining the gang.
One of
as a
JB's
special. Yeah, one of my
Hard-
favorite movies.
Hard
so
for him to
great
say
time.
no to that one, even if he
Yep.
is have to stay up until 11
I know. That's gonna be tough. For this early
Caffeine.
morning,
I'll
yeah,
bring you
a lot of
coffee,
caffeine.
tea.
Watch the feeds for when the next Life at Lightspeed is going to have.
Yeah, it should be up later this week. Yep.
Yep. And then we'll get back to a Clone Wars watch along. I think this week we're going to end up back at Mandalore. I think we're coming up on that
Next
story
time
arc.
around.
So,
Yeah, there was not anything on Sunday this
Yep,
month.
it's this
because
Sunday,
it's
so-
the 5th Sunday. So everybody kind of takes a break, which is good because, maybe we all need to go out and take a walk around the neighborhood or something on Sunday instead.
Yep.
Yeah. Oof. Going to be one of
Yep,
those
yep.
weekends.
walk off whatever lovely, wonderful meals that you have, and enjoy family. Get into plenty of Star Wars arguments, and just relax and think
Remember,
back
we're always
of what,
here for you.
of what
Thank
you're Star Wars thankful for.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Princess. With that, I think there's only one thing left to say.
I love you.
I know.